Yeah, yeah, that's right. It was Spike's hat. It was the Spike Lee hat. I'm telling you, that's what it was. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? How you doing? This is your boy MJ, and it feels good to be a Knicks fan right now. I'm telling you that. Welcome to the Knicks Rundown. This right here is your one-stop shop for previews, reviews, and fun views of all things Knicks basketball. So, if you're new to the channel,
welcome. Goddamn it, welcome.
now, if you're like me, you're always like searching on the internet to try and find good Knicks content. You're looking for things on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Well, guess what? I got you. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to like this video. I want you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that way you can be updated on the next time I post some of that great content. As well as go to our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages. I want you to like and follow us at Knicks Rundown. I'm always posting some really good content there, some smart stuff as well as some fun stuff. And this is where you can stay connected and plugged into all things Knicks basketball. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. Now I got 3 words for you.
Mortimer, we're back.
That's right, we're back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. It feels good to wake up and be a Knicks fan today. You're 5-3. The last time you had a start like this was back in 2013. You know how long ago that was? And if you're a Knicks fan, you know what 2013 was. That was the last time we made the playoffs, okay? Hopefully we can keep that up. Now, not only is the 5-3 record pretty good, but the 5-1 record in the last 6 games, the Knicks are the hottest team in the NBA right now. No team has a better record than them over that span. And in fact, they're not beating cupcakes. Let me tell you what I posted on our social media pages, okay? In their 5 wins over that span, the Knicks opponents entered winning 70% of their contests. Okay, so they're beating quality teams. And where it all got started was the road, that 4-game road trip. So let's run that down. Now, if you haven't done so, I want you to go back and check out the video that I posted about the Knicks going on that 4-game road trip. It was the last video that I just posted. So you know, after this is over, stop what you're doing, go watch that one so you can be informed. Now, the information that I said, I won't give it all away, but the thing that was really important, I called it. I'm telling you, I nailed it. Call me Nick Stradamus. I said they were going to go 3-1, and I also said who they were going to win to and who they were going to lose against. I called it straight out. But the most important thing over that 4-game road trip was the fact that they were going to bond as a team. And you hear it from the interviews of the players after the game. They talk about being a brotherhood. They talk about playing for one another. This is the time. This is a really, really crucial point of the season, especially with players hurt and injured at the moment. This was a really crucial time for the team to really come together and play and excel. And they did that. They went out and they won those games. If you're like me, you're probably thinking to yourself, all right, I've been here before, they brought me up in order to let me down. And I thought that was going to happen. I thought they were going to come home from that road trip. They were going to play the Jazz. They were going to get skunked. It started to look that way. But the Knicks came back. They were down 18 points against the Jazz in the second quarter. And they turned that around into a 12-point win. I mean, that's a new Knicks team right there. And I want you to hear some of the quotes that the players had to say, as well as the coach. Starting with Austin Rivers, he said this, quote, "I've been on bad teams before. This is not one of them. I can promise you that. It's really early in the year, but I do know the spirit is different. The willingness to work and learn is different. From management to coaching is different. This is not the Knicks team that y'all been covering. This is not." Now, this is a new guy coming into the season. You know, new team, new atmosphere, new environment. And he's just bringing a veteran presence, and he's hitting big shots. He's not just not talking the talk. He's walking the walk. I mean, and as a Knicks fan, like, this is the kind of guy that you rally behind, the one that you really embrace. Now, another person who had some really good quotes was Julius Randle. He said, "This team is different. We have a great energy and a great confidence about us." Now, if you talk to players or if you've been a player yourself, you know when you step on the court, confidence really is key, because if you're confident in what you're doing, they always say shoot with confidence, right? You're playing confidently on defense, you can be able to recover, all those things. Those confidence is really important in order for your team to be able to excel. The last quote that I want to read to you was Tom Thibodeau, and this is what he said about Julius Randle. He said, "He's our engine. He plays with a lot of toughness, and there's a lot of multiple effort plays that he's making, but he's playing very unselfishly. Now, you remember last year, Julius would always like get the ball, he ball stopper, hold the ball all the time, and he's, spinning and turning it over, stuff like that. I mean, he's making great decisions right now. He's finding an open man. He's doing everything. So Tibbs went on to say this. He said that he can handle the ball. He's got very good skills with the ball. And I think those guys are very hard to guard, and his shooting has improved. Now, I mean, I'd like him to shoot the three a little bit better, but you cannot argue with the output right now. And so this got me to thinking, Tibbs was talking about the engine, and I was thinking, especially with them coming off of the road trip and the Knicks on their journey on the road to the playoffs right now, all these bandwagon Knicks fans are gonna try and come out of the woodwork. So let's create a car for them. All right, let's do that. Me and you, okay? Let's create a car for them, okay? All right, so we're gonna start with the frame, all right, like the body of the car, all right? And I'm gonna say, if we had to choose players and coaches to make up the car, I'm gonna go with Tibbs as the body, because everything is surrounding him and his culture that he's bringing to the team, okay? So, as I mentioned before, this is the best start they've had since 2013 season when they made the playoffs, well, the 2012-2013 season. They have a really good nucleus of coaches around them. So Tibbs, I'm going to give him as the frame. Now Tibbs gave Julius, a characteristic as the engine. So I'm going to go with him as the engine. Now check this out. Julius right now is averaging 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Only one other player in the NBA is doing that this season, and that's Nikola Jokic. Okay, but he's doing that on a losing team. So I want to start getting Julius Randle a little bit more, props and publicity. Right now he's playing like an all-star. So hopefully, if he keeps this up, he can be an all-star, or even also named most improved player. So what else we have? All right, so we got the frame, we got the engine, two major parts obviously for the car. Now I'm gonna give Mitchell Robinson the brakes. Now, the reason why I'm going to give him the breaks is because of defense. Obviously, defense slowing the other team down, stuff like that. Breaks, you get it. It makes sense, right? So Mitchell right now, he's 5th in the NBA in blocks. Now, you know that he can pretty much, grab the ball, dunk anything. His field goal percentage last year was an NBA record. Right now, he's a little bit lower than that, but he's still over 60%. So we know what he can do on the offensive end with the putbacks and everything. But defensively, he's blocking shots, but he's staying out of foul trouble. And that's huge, huge, huge for the Knicks, especially with Nerlens Noel being hurt. So I'm going to go with breaks for Mitchell Robinson. Steering wheel, right? You got to be able to drive the car. So I'm going to give that to the guards. I'm going to give that to Quickly and Elfrid Payton. I know Elfrid Payton. No, I'm just kidding. No, seriously, Elfrid Payton. Hey, look, I give it to you, man. You're doing your thing. You're stepping up, and we need that from you. Especially that last game, you did a really good job too. So in the last game, 22 points, 8 assists. Listen, continue doing that, because we need that from our point guard. We'd like to see you be able to make that outside shot, but we'll take what we can get. And in the previous game against the Hawks, our other point guard that I just mentioned, Emmanuel Quickly, he came in and he scored 16 points in 18 minutes. I mean, for a rookie, 16 points in 18 minutes, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to go with steering wheel for them. Now, the last guy that I'm going to give this a car part to is Austin Rivers. I'm going to give him the gears. All right, now you say gears, right? Yeah, because he's helping to transition, gears, shift. He's helping to shift this team into a position that they haven't been to before. Not only on the court, but up here. I mean, they're believing that they can be a playoff team. They're believing that they can play. Now let's take a deeper dive and run down Austin Rivers' production this season, especially when it comes to him playing in the fourth quarter. Austin Rivers averages 13.3 points this season, but of those 13 points, 8 of them come in the fourth quarter. He's leading all bench players in fourth quarter scoring at 8 points a game. But let's go even deeper than that. So if you remember in the beginning of the season, Austin Rivers talked about not worried about starting. Now, he was injured to start the season, but they, in the interviews, they asked him about starting or coming off the bench. And he said, look, I'm not worried about that starting. He said, where I want to be is I want to be in the game, on the court, in the fourth quarter when it matters. And guess what? Thank God for that, because he has been playing huge. Now, if you look at his clutch stats, now clutch, what that means is, what that refers to is the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, or 5 minutes of the game, when the margin is within 5 points or less. So that's the clutch stat right there, and that's where Austin Rivers has been excelling. Right now, he's shooting, get this, 75% from the field in clutch time, including 4 for 5 from 3-point range. Now that's crazy. 4 for 5 from 3-point range when it matters, right? He's hitting that big shot. Now let's compare him to some other established guards, some other star guards in the NBA. All right, let's start with Bradley Beal. You might not want him taking the last shot right now, or those clutch shots. Check it out. He's shooting 5 for 20 from the field, including 1 for 4 from 3-point range this season in the clutch. How about Trae Young? We just saw Trae Young not too long ago. We gave him the business, gave him that L. And he's shooting 6 for 14, including 0 for 4 from 3-point range. Devin Booker in the clutch, he's not clutch, especially this season. He's shooting 4 for 14 from the field, including 1 for 6 from 3-point range. And for all my Bulls lovers, you know who you are. As a Knicks fan, you stopped us from winning some titles, so I'm not really a big fan of you guys. But Zach LaVine, 5 for 16 from the field, and including a dreadful 1 for 9 from 3-point range. Now, if you combine all 4 of those players, they're shooting 3 for 23 from 3-point range. 3 for 23 in the clutch. Austin Rivers is shooting 4 for 5. I mean, I'll take 4 for 5 over 3 for 23 any day. So, right now we have players who are performing really well. We have players who are hurt. I would argue, and I might do this in one of my next videos, I will argue that the Knicks are one of the deepest teams in the NBA. Now, you may laugh because they're the Knicks, and we haven't been great in a long time. But they have Austin Rivers, who's playing well. Alec Burks, he was averaging 20 points a game off the bench. You have Julius Randle, who's playing like an MVP. RJ Barrett has increased his scoring. And then if we can get some guard play, I mean, to go with Mitchell Robinson, that's a really deep team. As well as, we haven't even talked about our first round pick in Obi Toppin, who hasn't even really played. 1 through 12, I think the Knicks have one of the deepest rosters in the NBA. And they can just throw bodies and bodies at people and not necessarily have a bunch of drop-offs. So I'm really excited about that, really excited about where they're going to be able to end up this season. Now, with those major components, we have other complementary parts to fill in a puzzle for our bandwagon car. I mean, we have other players such as Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, welcome back Taj Gibson. We have Reggie Bullock, Nerlens Noel. We have other parts that make up the puzzle. And I believe that, especially with the NBA expanding the playoffs to 1 seed all the way to 10 seed, with the 7 and 10 being that playing game, I think that we have enough gas to get us there. And if we don't, hey, maybe we'll knock on Elon Musk's door and then ask him if he could hook us up with the Tesla, since he's now the richest man in the world. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, please make sure that you subscribe, and as always, go Knicks.